Hello, my friends. I hope you're having an outstanding, fabulous day. Today, it is Tuesday. Well, it's not really Tuesday, but it's going to be posted on Tuesday, so it's Real Estate Tuesday. Although, as things progress, it may change to just all bike stuff because bikes are what gets the views, apparently, which is a good thing. If you have not, boom, please smash that subscribe. Click on the like, click on the bell. So today, I'm just going to tell you about ground rent, ground leases. They're in other parts of the country. They're prevalent in Maryland, Baltimore City, and then the surrounding areas, and in other places. And what is a ground rent? A ground rent is when you own the home, but someone else owns the land, and you, the owner of the home, pay rent to the person who owns the land. And it's typically paid twice a year. You can pay it once a year, but typically it's paid every 6 months. And they typically are somewhere in a price range of like $100 a year. They're not, I've seen $90. I don't remember ever seeing one over $110. So they're pretty inexpensive. And one reason is they were kind of started in the 1800s. And then they were continued to be created up until Maryland in 2007, when the Maryland legislature put the kibosh on the creation of new ground rents, unless it was for 4 more units, meaning in the commercial world, you'll still see the ground rents, but not in the residential world. And that's because it was being abused. In fact, in 2007, the Maryland legislature passed a law that people who have ground rents need to register them. And if they don't register them, they can't charge for the ground rent, and they can't try to evict, and they can't try to foreclose, and they can't do anything. And they also said, if you don't register the ground rent in a certain period of time, your ground rent will be abolished. Well, there are companies who have thousands of ground rents. And there was litigation, and the highest court in Maryland said, nope, that's unconstitutional. You can't take away someone's property rights like that. So that statute is still in effect with regards to you must register your ground rent, and you cannot collect unless it is registered. But as a ground rent holder, you cannot lose your ground rent just because you haven't registered. You just won't be able to do anything with it. So they're typically 99 years. And they go on. They renew indefinitely. As I said, there's a registry in Maryland, and if you don't register, you can't get your ground rent from people. Can you redeem it? Yes. What does that mean? That means if you have a home with a ground rent, you can buy that ground rent from the landowner. The landowner cannot refuse to sell it. And the cost of that redemption is set by statute. So it depends on what year it was created. It's not a lot of money to redeem, but if you didn't want to pay the ground rent, you could redeem. The house that my parents owned and that I grew up in, it had a ground rent, and that was in Baltimore County, and it was like around $100 a year. If you don't pay, the ground rent owner can foreclose, put a lien on the property, can foreclose just like a bank. Now, it used to be they foreclosed and took everything. The Maryland legislature said, no, you can foreclose and get the money that you're legally entitled to and your cost and expense to do the foreclosure, but all the equity in the home goes to the homeowner. So now, before you'll see a foreclosure on a ground rent, if there's a mortgage, the mortgage company will buy the ground rent and will not let it go to foreclosure. So if you wanted to redeem, here's an example. if your ground rent was created in 1889, the redemption fee is 6%. So if it was $100 yearly ground rent, you take your $100, divide by 0.06, which is 6%, and then you come up with $1,666.67. This is what it would cost to buy the ground. So a lot of times when people are buying a house, they will actually buy the ground rent as part of the transaction and just put it in their mortgage. If they're already there, if they've been in the house, whatever, 5, 10, 20 years, and they want to buy the ground rent, they just contact whoever owns the ground rent, and then they pay the money, and then the ground becomes theirs. And as I said, in 2007 in Maryland, no more creation of ground rents unless it's 4 more units, which is really commercial. And this is something that, back in the 1800s, the world was a different place. Jobs were different. Money was different. And so it was not uncommon for people who couldn't afford the land. And so that's kind of that's when ground rents were created, in a time when people who wanted to buy properties couldn't afford the land buy from the landowner, and the landowner did the ground rent and let people build houses on it. Now, as I said before, there's companies that own thousands of ground rent, because if you said $100 a year, $100 a year, what? That's nothing. But if you have thousands of them, that's a lot of money. So I hope you found that interesting about ground rents. And just a little quick video, just as an FYI. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And if you have not, boom, please smash that subscribe, click on that like, click on the bell, tell your friends, and check out my other videos on real estate legal tips, puppies, fat loss, biking. I love you all. See ya.